He was loud, he was brash, he was brilliant. To some, General George Smith Patton Jr. was the greatest field commander the Allies ever had. To others, he was reckless, dangerous, a man whose mouth could end wars or start them. But one thing no one ever denied: Patton was born to fight. George S. Patton was born on November 11, 1885, in San Gabriel, California. He grew up in a family that worshipped war heroes. His ancestors had fought in the American Revolution and the Civil War. As a boy, young George read stories of knights and conquerors and dreamed not of peace, but of glory. From his earliest days, he believed he was destined to command armies. But there was a problem: Patton was severely dyslexic. Reading and writing came hard to him. What came easily was strategy, intuition, and courage. When he entered the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, he was determined to overcome every weakness. And he did, through sheer willpower. He graduated in 1909, became a cavalry officer, and immediately began to chase excellence. When most officers still believed the horse would rule the battlefield forever, Patton saw the future: tanks. During World War I, he joined the newly formed U.S. Tank Corps and led America's first tank attack in history at Saint-Mihiel, France, in 1918. He was wounded by machine gun fire, refused evacuation, and kept directing tanks from the ground. That day, his men saw something they'd never forget: their general bleeding, limping, and still charging forward. After the war, Patton became obsessed with preparing for the next one. He read Napoleon, Caesar, Hannibal, even ancient texts on warfare. He told fellow officers, "Wars may change, but warriors never do." When World War II began, Patton was ready. In 1942, he led the U.S. II Corps during Operation Torch, the Allied invasion of North Africa. There, his fame began. He transformed a demoralized, poorly trained force into a disciplined, unstoppable machine. His philosophy was simple: a pint of sweat will save a gallon of blood. Patton's leadership was harsh but effective. He believed fear was a weapon, and he wielded it well. Under his command, the Allies drove the Germans and Italians out of Tunisia by May 1943. Then came Sicily, July 1943, his most controversial campaign. Patton's forces raced across the island in a lightning drive that outpaced even the British under Montgomery, but his temper betrayed him. In a hospital tent, he slapped two shell-shocked soldiers, calling them cowards. The news exploded across America. Patton was removed from command, humiliated, and forced into silence. But history wasn't done with him yet. When the Allies landed in Normandy on June 6, 1944, Patton was quietly reassigned to lead the U.S. Third Army. And when his tanks finally rolled out of Normandy in August 1944, the world witnessed one of the fastest and most daring military advances in history. In just 1 month, Patton's army swept through France, liberated hundreds of towns, captured thousands of German soldiers, and reached the German border. His troops adored him because he led from the front, ate the same food, and shared the same dangers. He famously told them before the breakout, "No bastard ever won a war by dying for his country. He won it by making the other poor dumb bastard die for his." By December 1944, the Germans launched their last desperate counterattack, the Battle of the Bulge. The U.S. 101st Airborne was trapped in Bastogne, surrounded and freezing. Eisenhower turned to one man, Patton. In less than 72 hours, Patton pivoted his entire Third Army, 100,000 men, 400 tanks, and thousands of vehicles, north through snow and chaos to relieve the siege. It was one of the greatest logistical and tactical maneuvers of the war. When reporters asked how he managed it, Patton simply said, "God was with us." By early 1945, Patton's army stormed across the Rhine River, deep into Germany. He liberated concentration camps, exposed Nazi atrocities, and by May 1945, he stood in conquered Bavaria, victorious. But peace was never his strength. When the war ended, Patton openly criticized the Soviet Union and questioned U.S. political decisions in Europe. He called Stalin's forces the next enemy. His bluntness angered higher command. Eisenhower, fearing political fallout, relieved him again. Then came tragedy. On December 9, 1945, near Mannheim, Germany, Patton's car collided with a U.S. Army truck. The impact broke his neck. Paralyzed from the shoulders down, he told his aide, "This is a hell of a way to die." He lingered for 12 days before passing away on December 21, 1945, at the age of 60. His body was laid to rest among his men at the Luxembourg American Cemetery, near the grave of those he commanded. On his tombstone, there's no boast, no title, only his name, his rank, and the dates that marked a warrior's life. Even today, historians debate him. Was Patton a genius or a madman? A hero or a danger? Perhaps he was both. But one thing is certain: George S. Patton Jr. embodied the spirit of the warrior more completely than any man of his age. He lived for combat, spoke his truth without fear, and died as he lived, unbroken. Lead me, follow me, or get out of my way. General George S. Patton, 1944.